Welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. For 190 days, Ukraine stands strong against the Russian invasion. The mission of the International Atomic Energy Agency visited the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant yesterday, reports Interfax Ukraine. After the visit, head of the agency Rafael Grossi said that before leaving the plant, he was able to see key things and announced the establishment of a permanent presence of the agency at the plant. Earlier, state nuclear power plant operator Energoatom, which includes the Zaporizhia plant, reported that by 6 p.m. on September 1st, Grossi had left the station. Most of the members of the delegation left the station with him. According to Energoatom, 5 representatives of the agency's mission remained at the Zaporizhia power plant and were unloading the equipment they brought and will continue to work at the plant. Advisor to the head of the office of the President of Ukraine, Mikhailo Podolyak, expressed surprise that the visit of the main part of the mission lasted only 2 hours, reports Slovo i Dilo. Podolyak said that he does not understand what could be done in such a short time. One of the workers of the power plant told Suspilnet that the inspectors of the International Atomic Energy Agency mission moved around the station and communicated with the employees of the plant, not in private, but in the presence of the Russian military and the employees of the Russian state nuclear energy company Rosatom. According to the worker, the Russians tried to convince the representatives of the mission that radiological, chemical and biological protection troops are at the station and not the combat units of the Russian army. They tried to make a case that Ukrainian armed forces are shelling the power plant. In his evening video address, President Volodymyr Zelensky said that the occupiers are trying to turn this very important mission into a fruitless tour of the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. He expressed belief that this will be prevented. The president informed that there is evidence that Russia did a lot of cynical things to deceive the mission. In particular, with the help of intimidation of residents of the city where the power plant is situated, Enerhodar. According to Zelensky, the occupiers forced people to lie to the experts. He also pointed out that there was an agreement that the mission would be accompanied by independent journalists from Ukrainian and international media. Unfortunately, the occupiers did not let the journalists in, only their own propagandists. Zelensky added that the key goal of Ukrainian and international efforts is the demilitarization of the territory of the plant. The president stressed that so far the International Atomic Energy Agency has not made the appropriate calls to do so, despite the previous agreements. New school year started yesterday in Ukraine. According to the Ministry of Education of Ukraine, out of total 3.9 million students, 800,000 students have started studying offline, 1.2 million online, and the rest in a mixed form of education, reports Interfax Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelensky visited one of the schools that were restored in the city of Irpin, Kyiv region, reports Ukrinform. The president stressed that no matter what was destroyed, Ukraine will restore everything. He stressed that Ukrainian children will receive education built not on lies and propaganda spread by the terrorist state, but on real knowledge, openness to the world, and the best human values. The General Staff of Ukraine informs that Russian troops have received an order from Russian President Vladimir Putin to reach the administrative borders of Donetsk region by September 15th, reports Union. To fulfill the task, Russian commandment plans to send there a newly created 3rd Army Corps, provided with the new weapons and military equipment. Secretary of the National Security and Defense Council Oleksiy Danilov said that Ukraine does not need permission from anyone to liberate its own territories, reports Ukrainska Pravda. In an interview to 1+1 TV, Danilov answered this way to a question whether the liberation of Crimea occupied by Russia was agreed with London, Washington, Berlin or Warsaw. At the same time, he admitted that this does not apply to the permission to use the weapons Ukraine receives from the Western partners. Earlier, the Minister of Defense of Ukraine Oleksiy Reznikov said that Ukraine undertook not to use Western weapons on the territory of Russia, but the partners did not impose restrictions on strikes on Russian military facilities in the occupied Crimea. 53% of Germans support sanctions imposed against Russia, even if they lead to rising prices, disruptions in energy supply, and problems for the economy, reports Ekonomiczna Pravda. According to the survey, 40% of respondents say that they oppose the course of sanctions if it leads to clear negative consequences and is a burden for Germany. In the eastern part of the country, more than half of the study participants took this position. During the same survey, immediately after the beginning of the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine in March 2022, 66% of respondents expressed support for sanctions against Moscow. Earlier, German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock assured that the country will not lift sanctions against Russia, even if the Germans go on the protest due to the high electricity prices. Our Patreon supporters get access to a cool new series on wartime life in Ukraine. To join the club, follow the link in the description below. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine. Thank you.